Welcome back, everybody. As you can see from the title of this one, this is my first FM23 save and video, and we're going to get into this and the details of what I've seen so far from the beta. Let's take a look. We'll start with the usual homepage that you see here. You have started with Man United, a controversial one. A lot of people fans of Man United at the moment, but here we go. This was just my look at the game. I always like to pick a kind of a top tier team so you can test out tactics, you can test out ways of playing, and just how the game is in general. So the home screen not looking much different as it was to previous years. We're nicely sitting in third, which is not too bad for Man United at the moment. And you'll see a bit of an odd one that Jadon Sancho is my top goal scorer. He's been absolutely on fire from the left wing. So I thought I'd show you guys also the schedule so far, how we've performed. You can see we started off really well, had a little bit of a wobbly middle, and then we've kind of got back on track. What I'm going to do today, you can see I've not got very far into the game. That's because I'm spending a lot of time looking at kind of what's new and what's different and things and data you can take advantage of. So that's what I'm going to mainly focus on this for today, but also throw in a match at the end there. You can see it'll be against West Ham. So one of the biggest things that everybody has talked about is the data hub that we have here. This has been such a improvement from what I can see and how I feel of using it compared to any other FM game. The biggest thing I've found is that it's not just statistics. You're actually having the statistics explained to you so that you can take more advantage of that. I feel like previously you would be given some information, but because it wasn't in kind of black and white on how you would take it, you just had to interpret the data. You couldn't really fully use that. But now, obviously, teams in real life have these analysts for that. You know, the manager is not an analyst. He needs someone to take that data and put it into writing for him, so to speak. So what I'll do is I'll go through some of this and see some of the stats that we do get and we can use there. So if we just have a look at the attacking of our team, this is a general overview, and you can find a few more detailed ones in a moment. You can see down the left hand side, it does explain to you the pros and cons, as I said, in writing, so you've actually got that graph explained to you. And you'll see, obviously, the high number of goals per 90 minutes compared to the average, but it's our dribbles per game, which are well below the average of the Premier League. So it's quite an interesting way to look at it. You then kind of have to adapt that into your tactic. You know, what are you going to do to either create more dribbles or utilize the fact that you don't have as many dribbles? You know, maybe you're going to look to pass out a bit more, or are you going to switch up who you have in those positions where they may dribble, your wingers, your wing backs? Are you then going to check on their dribbling stats? Are you then going to look at what kind of role you have them in? Utilize that. I find that, for me personally, this has been a big eye-opener for my tactics. Although you see, obviously, from that previous screen of the schedule, something has still been a bit wobbly, but as it's a new game, you've got to find the tactic that works for you. So on the team analyst screen, you can actually filter what data you're shown. I kind of put a basic one up so far. So you can see I've got our XG table as the preferred one, showing us where we are and where our XG shows us to be. So you can see we're actually third, but our XG would have us fifth, just meaning that we're converting a lot more of the chances that we shouldn't really, or possibly would be unlikely to. So good and bad. The bad side is that it means maybe we should be getting better chances, but we'll take the fact that we have a team that are able to take on those opportunities. And that's kind of a great example of this table. It was in previous games, but I find it easier to get to in this one with this data hub. And you've then got the rest of them. So I've actually put on quite a lot of last match details. So we'll have a look at the pass comparison map, for example. You can see that both myself and Nottingham Forest have very similar ways of playing there out of the back and our passing. Obviously, that's kind of where generally are focused. That's just because of the tactic, which I'll show you in a minute. It's one I'm not sure I'm settled on, but it's kind of worked so far. If we have a look at some of the others, you know, obviously the XG match story of that game, we're in the yellow and Nottingham Forest are in the red. You can see we started off well and then just nothing happened and Nottingham scored. It kind of knocked the team until the second half. We made some changes and all of a sudden everything was coming our way. So you can see it's a difficult one to judge. You know, it's still obviously just a little bit of statistics. It's not the same as when you're in the game. You know, when you're in the match, you yourself can see how the game's going. But this just gives you an idea, especially with this one, about when your change came into place and if it worked. And I know that I made a change about the 60th minute, and that just started to create more and more opportunities to break Nottingham Forest down. And eventually we got that 2-1 win. It was far too close for my liking. So I'm actually not sure if this is a glitch or not, but it actually says on the 3 formations that we've used so far this season, we've had no clear-cut chances whatsoever. I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but if that is, again, something to work on. It's giving that information. The scoring obviously shows us that we've had a lot of assists as through balls, 24 of 54. That'll be kind of the way I've played Sancho and Antony around Ronaldo and Martial and the way they come inside. You can't see the conceding side of it because my camera's in the way, but it does say that 6 of the 17 assists that we've conceded, did I say that right? 6 of 17 have come from inside the penalty area. So what I started to do once I realised this was happening was I've put in the tactic to force the attacking opposition to the outside of our fullbacks. You know, putting them into wider positions to try and avoid that issue. It still could happen. Maybe they're passing around and I need to look at the middle. We'll come on to something about the players that I've noticed recently as well, which I found is typical of a game, you know, and wasn't probably going to ever change. This one's not really got much to it, but it's quite interesting to see that with our shot, actually with our goals, specifically I've selected there, that our goals come a lot from low-driven shots. You know, they're in the bottom corners, never really too high. The right top-hand corner, obviously a bit more, but yeah, nothing in the middle ever so often. So yeah, 8 and 6 on the left and right. So it's this one's just a small little tidbit, but it's quite an interesting one to see as well. Now here's one I have used quite frequently. This is our areas of play, you know, our defenders, midfielders and forwards, and this shows you the comparison of your players in those positions to the rest of the league. So if we look at assisting, for example, it breaks it down into 4 quadrants to give you an idea. Again, this is where I was saying these little bits of writing they put in to give you more information, actually utilize the stats. Previously you may have got a graph like this, but you didn't quite understand why that was highly creative, high quality creating for Antony in that box. So it's just little bits that have been refined to help understand it. But as you can see there, with assisting, Martial, Sancho and Antony are on that kind of better side. Rashford, I've actually not played too much, so that's maybe why he's on the low quality. And then Ronaldo is shockingly low. He has been difficult to use in my save so far. I've tried using him as a poacher, advanced forward. I've tried using him as a pressing forward. Nothing's really worked, and poacher is meant to be his best role. But yeah, it's been a tricky one with him in there, even though he has scored a few goals. So another one we want to look at is if we have a look at the aerial, you can see that we just do not score headers from our front line. None of them do well. Ronaldo obviously strong heading, few headers, but even then, you know, if we're not having them often, is there really a point in kind of focusing on that? So I've kind of built the tactic a little bit to try and avoid that. We do a lot of low crosses, you know, utilize the fact that Sancho, Ronaldo, Antony, they've got great scoring ability with their feet. So that's kind of the best way I found them. The heading side, I think, would be really useful for the likes of Spurs or why have I forgotten other teams are called strikers. Yeah, no, it's completely gone. But Harry Kane would probably be a strong figure there. You know, he's quite good at getting on his head there. And Ronaldo, I would have thought from the past, you know, he was so good at that. But for whatever reason in this game, Ronaldo is not very good. So quite interestingly, with the formation that we're playing, I've dropped it back to be a 4-1-2-3. Try to think there. Defensive midfielder with 2 central midfielders. So you can actually see Eriksen is the only one there that really has great assist quality and key passes, which has surprised me because there's been games where I've thought, oh, he's not doing very well. But this really has kind of brought out to me that I know he is actually getting in those right passes. It's just our attackers that aren't finishing them. So he has really excelled in these positions. Obviously, you can see Declan Rice and Casemiro very low, but they are my defensive midfielders that I use. Fernandes is the one that surprised me. He should be higher than that. He has scored goals and got assists, so I think it's maybe just his creation of those chances is just a bit lower. And finally, I thought I'd look at my tackling for the defenders. So you can see that Wan-Bissaka and Malacia, They do a lot of tackling, but it's not great. But nearly got his name wrong. Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane, they do few tackles, but they're strong tackles, and that I don't mind, because the idea would be obviously that they are coming to your defenders few and far between. So when they are coming in, Martinez and Varane are doing great at tackling. But one point I was going to get onto about players is actually regarding Lisandro Martinez. And once I get into my tactic screen, I'll show you a little bit about what I mean. So yeah, we'll have a look at this tactic first before I go anywhere else. So this has kind of been the way I've started to set up. Surprisingly for me, I've gone for attacking fullbacks. I found, at least so far in the games I've played, the wingbacks are far too high and just not coming back at all. And it's leaving us really, really vulnerable at the back. So I've kind of moved into fullbacks, a bit more defensive. With that attacking quality, they still will do first-time crosses when the opportunity arises, but they are staying back a lot more. The issue I was talking about with Lisandro Martinez, and he's not in my starting 11 at the moment, is his height. It really has been an issue, and I don't know why it's been an issue, but his rating overall has been pretty shocking. If we go down here, you can see that it's a 6.88 in the Europa League and a 6.8 in the Premier League. He just doesn't do very much. His tackling is okay. His passing is really good. So he's got a good tackling rate, but as soon as a high ball comes in, it's just nothing I can do with him, and that's what's let him down. Is in those moments where we concede, it's him that loses the rating. He's always the one that loses it, and I don't understand why. I don't understand how I can affect this, and also don't know why it's not showing me his height. That's what I've been looking for there. But he really has struggled with that. You can see his stats overall, all round, are decent. As a ball-playing defender, I don't play him as a ball-playing defender, unfortunately. He's just not been that good. But with this inverted winger role on Fernandes and Sancho, Fernandes is only there because we have quite a few injuries or people returning. It's been really good. I've enjoyed having them cut inside. And as I said, Shaw and Wan-Bissaka just there to provide that first time cross if need be. And the way we've got it set up is obviously to have those low-driven crosses. We prefer to work the ball into the box. It has been a bit better for us, but I switch between that and early crosses quite often. We try to play a high-passing, direct game, only because I found can keep plenty of possession with the short passing one, but it's just those chance creations that weren't coming. So having a look at Ronaldo's stats, you can see there that, he does have some standout attributes there. His heading, for example, and his finishing, 19, can't get better than that. Even his jumping reach is 17. But for some reason, maybe it's just the way I've started this game, I can't get the best out of him. But it's been not the best. If I have a look here, 4 goals in 9 games is decent, but his rating is only 6.96. So overall, anything else, as soon as he doesn't score, his rating is about a 6.2. It is not good whatsoever. And I'm just finding him very limited. So even though Martial isn't a better striker, I've just been playing him there more often because he's still decent, and it's just he does a bit more working around the other players, trying to get assists, trying to get goals. You can see he is only 1-1 for assist and goal in the Premier League, but generally I've not really played him as striker. I think I've only done it once, and that would have been, I believe, the last game. I'll have to have a look when I go back onto the schedule. But yeah, I want to give Martial a chance, and obviously Rashford. But again, injuries has really plagued us in this team. So you can see fitness just returning, injury, and fitness just returning. It's been pretty painful. I've fortunately got a bit carried away with the transfers before really looking at the team properly and where we needed the areas to work on, and I ended up buying 2 midfielders. So you can see Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I bought him to be a squad player. He, attribute wise and ability wise, he can play in a lot of roles because he has good stats. There's not many positions in that midfield section he can't play, so I thought, yeah, decent player to bring in there. You can see a 6.9 rating, mainly off the bench. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And the other player we brought in, you may have saw, was Declan Rice on loan, but it's a mandatory fee to buy him later down the line. I believe it's about 56 million to begin with. Is it going to say? No, it doesn't, but it does have the bonus, some bonuses there. I believe it was 56 million, but eventually it could be as high as 80 million with bonuses. A lot of them are based on wins of Premier League, Europa League, that kind of thing. So the areas I wished I'd worked on, I wish we'd brought in a striker, that's for sure. They need like a proper striker to come in straight away. And possibly in defence, we needed either a left back or another centre back, a proper centre back. Just the ones I've got, they're all average, you know, Lindelof, Maguire. I didn't look at selling them. I just kind of kept them around with, as I said, with it being the first game and the first save. I didn't want to mess up my team too much to then not be able to get into it properly. So we only went for those two players. And Declan Rice, to be fair, was a deadline day deal. So yeah, what I'll move on to next, though, another feature I'm really loving is the squad planner. You can see we have 3 tabs: current season, next season, and season after, to plan our squad. I've only gone with the next season one, and that's purely just because, one, for this season, I know the budget is not there, so we can't do any more, but also, I don't think this save is going to go on that long. I'm hoping that, obviously, if you guys enjoy this video and the match that we'll do at the end, that we'll continue on until the end of the beta. But as soon as the beta is finished and the kind of first patch comes, we're going to update, and then we're going to move on to a new save with more details about that to come on my socials. So what I'll show you is our next season planner. I'm going to show you those positions I've looked at and how you can put them as which choice you'd like them as. So the great thing about next season planner is if you don't have players that are contracted past the end of the season, it will take them out of that list. So you can see De Gea has been removed. His contract is up at the end of the season. But in actual fact, I'm kind of looking at this idea of, you can see Diogo Costa as our main goalkeeper with Dean Henderson as a backup. And I feel bad, I know people really like Dean Henderson, but that's unfortunately what he's going to become. And I think that's a really good position. Matej Kovar, I'm not sure what I'm doing with him. I may keep him at the team just to be that backup. Well, not even a backup, emergency backup. Dean Henderson, obviously, our backup. And yeah, that would probably be me set for goalkeepers, but we did need a new one because we are struggling a little bit in that department. Now, this is what happens as an example to when you just get a bit messy with your planning. So you can see I have a lot of players out on loan there. I also have youngsters and other things, probably players that I don't think will actually even get a snifter at the first team. So you can remove them, obviously. We have a look at the bottom there. Mengi, Bernard and King, we can remove them. Scott McTominay, we play him as a midfielder, so we're not going to have him. Eric Bailly, don't think he's ever going to get a game. And now we've narrowed down quite well. Declan Rice, he can play there, and I've seen that I've almost done it, but I want to keep him in my midfield, so I'm not really bothered about that. So we then move on to what we have. So you can see the 4 defenders we have: Varane, Martinez, Maguire, and Lindelof normally there, and then my shortlisted player, Eric Garcia. And I moved him to 3rd because I was kind of comparing where I would see him. And to be honest, he probably would be 2nd. He probably would be a starting centre-back. And then it will change over time. Obviously, this is only October in 2022. There'll be changes to that. There'll be more players, maybe younger ones that you'd bring in for the future. So, and then Maguire and Lindelof, probably sell them. Yeah, I think it's fair enough. So, it is a really good planner. I enjoy the fact that I can now visually see my short list on the positions in the formation I'm going to use. So for example, I do actually have a 5-1-2-2 that I'm looking at testing. So, you know, I can move that into this and I can plan around it. I can get some wing backs I'm looking at, because actually our current players, so our Malacia and Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, they're not that great at being wing backs, which surprises me. I thought, you know, those type of players are fairly quite attacking, but yeah, just doesn't seem to be one that suits them. So it's probably something we would look at if I do end up going for the formation. But at the same time, I'm going to be testing that formation before definitely buying players for it. As I mentioned before, strikers were an issue. So currently, I kind of kept Martial as my top one. Again, you can see wingers and such like in there. So if we were to take Garnacho out, Pellistri, And Diallo probably would never play as a striker. Even Antony, I don't think I would ever play up front. We're then down to the three and the one of the main shortlist. And the player that I would look at again, Tammy Abraham, a really, really top striker and really done well out in Roma. You can see, again, just a wide variety of attributes. He may not be, you know, the best of finishers, but his other stats around him could help him just be a really good forward in the sense of his passing and his finishing, leading to assists and goal contributions. So that would be the kind of the overall for my next season planner. As I said, you can do so much with it. You can filter it. You can ask your assistant to recommend positions, players, type of that. You can do the season after that. I said I've not even touched that just because I know that we're probably not going to get that far in this save. But yeah, this is just a quick look at it for you guys, and you can let me know what you think of this feature. Do you think this is one that you'll be using regularly? I know I will. As soon as I shortlist a player now, it's probably going to go into there so I can compare them. Now, I'm sure a question everyone had, the league table on the top goal scorer. Is Haaland top goal scorer? Of course he is. He's got 16 goals in 11 matches. Not as good as some I've seen on Twitter and other places, but look at his average rating, 8.1. That is ridiculous. That is actually ridiculous. He's had the most player matches, 5. And yeah, he's unbeatable. I think we played Man City and did we get a draw in that one? I remember it being Haaland. Yeah, we did get a draw. There you go. We can, I'll quickly adjust this so you can see the goal scorers. So you go, you can see, so we'd actually taken the lead and 3 minutes later, Haaland scored. And the most annoying thing was, is if you can read that, guys, Ederson was the assistant. We just quickly watched the goals. It was a pain in my ass when he scored this. You could see it coming. It was almost like watching the Brighton game all over again when he absolutely ruined Brighton. I'll turn that volume down a little bit. So this is our goal. Nice pass and play, and it was simple, and that's what the kind of I've been trying to go for. I really like that style play. But here we go. This is the ridiculous one. He just goes straight through the middle. What are you meant to do against this man? He was already ridiculous in previous FMs. He is even, well, no, you know what? I'm not going to say he's ridiculous, because that is what real life is like. He is a ridiculous striker in real life. But yeah, some good stuff there. It was... You don't know what to do against Man City with that, because as I said, it was going well, even though we hadn't scored and we did get that finally through Rashford. I kind of had seen it as we had most of the highlights out of nowhere. Haaland, just how it's always going to be, isn't it? So just having a quick look at the scouting page, mine is a bit messy. Again, and also I've really looked at, knowing I'm not doing a long-term save in this one. Probably something I'll cover more in my full-time save. Coming out in a couple of weeks on the 8th of November, roughly, depending when I have free time to record the first episode of that one. But you can just have a quick look. The focuses are a lot better presented, I find, in this screen. And obviously, it's been shown in Work the Space how you can actually see, I think it was detailed world knowledge. You can actually zoom in on everything. There you go. Yeah, I found, you know what? He did say a lot of people probably don't even care about this. I enjoy this. I can just zoom in and see our knowledge there. Oh, we're not really knowing much about the Faroe Islands. Maybe we need to get scouting there. There you go, you got Madagascar and the rest of Southern Africa. Is that Mauritius? That's a little yellow. No, Mauritius is a bit higher, isn't it? Guys, let me know, if anyone knows, is this part of Madagascar here, or is that just another small island off the coast of Madagascar? Middle East and East. So you can see where it started. Obviously, it shows you from where you're best. You'd be surprised if we weren't the best at the UK. Yeah, it's you can actually, yeah, sorry, I forgot, you can do it by nations as well. So apparently Qatar, absolutely great stuff. Don't know why, but yeah. A really fascinating thing I've loved that they've added is this Player of the Week news and where they ranked that week. Obviously in certain areas you'd think you'd be first for most, but you can see as well here, Ollie Watkins got Player of the Week this time. It was just for 1 goal. For his passing was really good, and his rating, you know what, I've seen better ratings than Player of the Week, so I don't know what happened this week, but his distance covered was only 2nd. It's small things, it's probably niche, not many people really care, but I enjoy seeing Player of the Week with their statistics. There we go, guys. We're going to get into the match against West Ham now. There probably is still things I haven't covered. If there is anything you can think of, please let me know, and I'll happily go over it. We're just having a quick look at our selection. Do I want to not play Ronaldo? Ronaldo? God, I can't pronounce properly. We're going to take Dubravka out. I'm going to just put Rashford in there. He probably won't play, but I don't want to play with two goalkeepers on the bench. I think I am going to stick with this one. Anthony's still injured, so I can't play him on the right. So you can see even by our quality and our depth, and the wingers is pretty poor. But Fernandes is a very versatile player, and he can play in a lot of good positions. Van de Beek, actually, I will take out. I wasn't planning to play him. I was looking at possibly, I was looking at Loftus-Cheek, but I'm going to have to be. Van de Beek, actually, to be fair to me, he's his average rating so far. He's only played a couple of games, and he's played pretty good in those couple of games. We'll keep him on there, but we'll just take Varane off because he is struggling. And we'll put Martinez there as a ball-playing defender. He is better in that position. Obviously, just waiting for that height disadvantage to come into this match. But let's get into it, guys. Here we go, walking out into Old Trafford. We've got it on extended highlights, so we'll see more. Normally I play via key, but my plan for our games going forward is that, and as if you guys want to see more of this, is that I will do a number of games on key highlights and zoom through them, and then we'll almost have like main figure matches for the video that will slow down and actually watch more, whereas the key ones will just be zooming through goals. Let me know if that's the format you'd like to see, or if you want me to do it in any different way. There we go, Van de Beek gets the ball to Sancho. Sancho is dispossessed, but Shaw gets it back to him, and he's in the middle to Martial. Oh, just wide of the post. And that quick passing doing us a lot of good here. Martinez on the ball from a free kick. Shaw just giving away. I've noticed our players are really good at recovering possessions, but they're also very bad for giving away. There you go, we've lost possession twice in this highlight alone. Sancho recovers it on the line there. Floats it in. Fernandes, surely not. Gets a corner though. Tempted to go for a goal from that awkward angle. We've seen plenty of goals from that kind of position. Eriksen drives it in, but nobody can get to it again. Need to look at getting Martinez out of the box because he's no good in there with a height disadvantage. Martial, the back post, cannot get his head onto it. Van de Beek driving into the box, puts it all the way out to Eriksen, who can't do much with it, but actually drives in. Oh my god, this is all over the place, this passing. So far, we've had half an XG. This is what I mean, these shots haven't been anything special, and I'm still getting to grips with what I can change about it. We may look to hit early crosses, because that's caught out a few teams. Martial again gets his foot on it, but it's just wide. So this of Eriksen and Martial both tackling. I think it was Cornet there. Van de Beek finds a good ball. Oh my god, this pass and play is so fine, as it is just the end result that's letting us down. So Ariel out from the back. Doesn't get the ball far away. Can Kufal drive forward? He does. Sancho really good at dropping back, and there we go. Again, tackles another player. You know, you'd think he was a wing back at the rate he's playing. It's been really good to see. Shaw maybe a bit further forward than I would like there, allowing Antonio into the box. Martinez though, getting him there. Sancho drives the ball forward, and Martial out and wide. Probably gonna have to cross this in. He does. Fernandes though can't get to it. Sancho back in the box. Is he going to drive in? Eriksen, Fernandes maybe taken down in the box there, but no penalty given. Now still passing it out. Still an opportunity to come. Can Wan-Bissaka put it in? He does, but nobody's there to find it. But Martial does actually get it in the end, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. Right, out from the back, Maguire drives forward, thought he was just going to get tackled straight away. Wan-Bissaka up the wing, pass in the middle to Eriksen. Eriksen finds Martial in great space. But again, straight at Areola. Let's quickly, just for the last 10-15 minutes, we'll change this to early cross and see if that gives us enough of a change. The first highlight's going to be to them. And oh my god, it is nearly an awkward bounced ball into the goal. De Gea recovers on the second attempt. You can see our players playing really well. We're just not getting that end result. Martial to Fernandes. Fernandes crosses it in, but can only be met by Cresswell. Shaw gets it back to Sancho. Is he going to go for another cross? He doesn't. He just shoots from a ridiculous angle, and it's off the woodwork and in. What a goal. This is why he's the top goal scorer. Angles like that, he has no problem scoring from. He goes into the box. He turns the defender. Defender's left for dead, and the keeper, and I don't know who was in the middle there, just not working well together, and Sancho puts in an amazing finish. Well, that's a good way to end the first half. Bit nervy, that one. You can see from the XG, they've had one shot. No, sorry, two shots. A little one at the end there. They've had three, actually. I don't know where the third... Oh, it's actually just in that little gap. But yeah, so we've not been great at our shots on target. That's where we need to work on, where I'm struggling at the moment. But yeah, used it, unfortunately, the one I didn't read that properly, and I just used what the assistant recommended. It didn't leave Sancho feeling very great, which I'm glad about, because he's the one that's performed. Second half, though, bit nervy there from De Gea. So West Ham into the box. De Gea recovers it. Can he get it out quickly? No, he's going to wait until we're comfortably back in formation. Harry Maguire doing a lot of tappy feet. Don't know what he's going for. He likes it. Look at the way he runs. Little tappy feet. Playing out from the back. Out to Sancho. We know that's where we're going to be strong. What can Sancho do to Eriksen? Back to Sancho. Is he going to finish? No. Areola gets to it. What a passing play that was. So, see, they keep recommending working the ball in the box, but I think hit early crosses worked quite well. We do have low crosses on, so it's getting it out to the feet of our attacking players. You can see our corners haven't been the best. Areola comes out to receive that one. So Martial and Casemiro are the two players that haven't really performed too well. So I'm actually going to look for an early substitution. I'm going to take Casemiro off for Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay's played well a couple times out of that position coming off the bench. As I said that, he loses possession. So great stuff, Scott. Great stuff. You're about to have caused us to concede a goal. Whew, not quite. Of course, it was him as soon as I mentioned it. So Bruno Fernandes has played decently from that right attacking midfield position. Not where I wanted to. Wan-Bissaka coming into the middle. Shaw. Van de Beek. Van de Beek went for a shot. Straight Areola, unfortunately, but there was great power behind that. You know what? We will go back to work ball into the box. It's what they were recommending to us, and we're just also going to make a couple substitutions. Sancho is absolutely shattered now. He can't play on. Eriksen also very tired, so we'll bring in Loftus-Cheek. Fernandes, I can't take off. I just have no one to play there. But Dalot can come on for Wan-Bissaka. If you don't know the match kind of sub rules now, it is you have 3 opportunities in game time to make substitutions, but you can make up to 5 substitutions. All the way across to Fernandes, a bit too high of a ball from Rashford, although that's a mighty ball in again. Rashford got onto that unexpectedly, but straight at the keeper once more. Fernandes on it from the free kick, hits the wall. Loftus-Cheek nearly beats the goalkeeper to the ball. Only a couple minutes left. Is anything else going to happen? We'll just quickly do a demand more right at the end, but I think that might be it. Only a 1-0 win. Not maybe the most interesting game so far. But you can see that our Man United team, you know, a lot of opportunities, just not taking full advantage of them. And that is the end of the game. So 1-0. It's a win. A win is a win. But you can see from my XG 2.2, we should have been flying high on goals. But I do feel up front is where we're really struggling to score. Yeah, well, I don't care if they look stressed, because it was right. Yeah, we'll just say we did well. I kind of zoomed through these. Press conferences are press conferences. They don't really affect much, I find it. Unless you make a promise, of course, without realising, which I think I did to Rashford. So you can see the scores. Arsenal drew with Nottingham Forest. Crystal Palace, Man City drew. Leeds, Chelsea are struggling. Where are they? They're 10th. They've only just started moving up. Liverpool absolutely destroying Leicester, and Newcastle in 5th place at the moment. They are doing really well. So that is going to be it from me today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this little kind of taster into what I've got going so far. Make sure you hit that like button if you've enjoyed. Let me know down below if you want to continue this series. just for the beta phase, and then as I said, we'll announce a bit later on what main save we're going to go for. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.